Hey everyone, Ranger Engineer here. So today, day 2, I thought I'd just give you a bit of an overview of my background, just lend some credibility, show you the journey I've been on, and hopefully this will get you coming back again for day 3. So my background, I'm an engineer. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and a master's degree in mechatronics. For those who don't know, mechatronic engineering is sort of the intersection of electrical, mechanical, software systems, control and automation. So think robotics, autonomous vehicles, phones to an example of software and electrical. So that's what my background is, electrical and mechatronics. And because mechatronics got a really broad overview of other things as well, how they all sort of interlock. And 5 years of study. So where's that got me at the moment is I'm currently working for a large automaker working on driver assistance technologies. So these are your technologies such as adaptive cruise control, allows your car to set a speed like normal cruise control, but if a vehicle in front of you slows down, you'll slow down as well. Lane keep systems, if you go out of a lane, it'll drag you back in. But also things like autonomous emergency braking. So if you're distracted and you're about to rear end someone or hit a pedestrian who walks out in front of you, the car will react and stop, and just technologies like that. So the reason I got into engineering was I wanted to help people and I wanted to make the world a better place. Sounds a bit altruistic, but I remember being 6 and in my prep grade of school, and we all had that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was I wanted to be either a detective or a scientist. And it took me years to work out why those two. And it wasn't really, I didn't want to join the police force and be a detective. But what I noticed was, and what I realized was I wanted the problem solving element of a detective. I wanted to go and I wanted to solve problems and come up with creative solutions. But I wanted to use the science of a scientist. So I wanted to problem solve with science, which is essentially what an engineer does. And engineering is all about problem solving using practical scientific applications. So I got into Lego early on. I then stepped up to the Lego Mindstorms and got into robotics, and so the Lego robotics and a bit of rudimentary programming. I took some basic electronics classes at school, Introduction to Electronics, where we actually got to build a laser tag system and run it at the school fair. That was one of the coolest projects that we actually got to do. And then I realized, wait a minute, I could do this as a career. I could do these sort of problem solving science, making cool things like laser tag systems for a career. So I got into university, got into a science degree. I did sort of basic first year maths, physics, introduction to engineering, bit of a broad section, and then started to specialize in electrical, mechanical and software systems. Got through to did a major in electrical systems and then went on to a master's. So that was more of a specialization, an extra couple of years study, but started digging really deep. Got to do some really cool projects like make a mechanical arm, basically a pick and place machine from scratch. I got to make a Game Boy from scratch as well. And just final year project was making an autonomous swimming pool cleaner. Now this was 4 years ago, just when Roombas was first coming out. So this was cutting edge. No one had done it before. It was just a dumb cleaner, sort of like Roomba was originally, just go randomly around your pool, and eventually over time, law of averages, it'd clean the whole thing. We actually had ours mapped out, would go back to a charging point, had some smarts in it, that was really cool. So that's my engineering background. Again, I lived on residence for uni, so I lived in a halls of residence or a dorm. So I've got some experience there. I'm originally from the country. So I moved to the big city because the university in my town only offered civil engineering and that wasn't where I wanted to go. So I've got experience moving from the country to the city, good experience of engineering, living on res, and just day-to-day uni ongoing. So engineers, we have fun, we work hard, there's lots of study involved, group assignments, you will have experienced problems in all of these, things like that, and I've made the transition into becoming a young professional engineer as well. So that's just a little overview of where I am, and yeah, just why you should listen to me as well. I've got the experience, I've mentored other students, they've all managed to get internships and grad positions. I know what I'm talking about. So again, if this is something that you think you'd be interested in, put a like and a comment down below. I want to get to know you guys a bit better, and if you've got ideas, suggestions of topics that you'd want to go over or want to hear about or learn about, or you've got questions about things, drop them in the comments section below as well, because I've got a list of things and topics that I want to cover, but I want to know what you guys want to cover or would like to see covered. Again, I'm trying to be that resource that didn't exist when I was going through my studies and making the transition from school to uni to full-time employment. So if you've got any suggestions, if there's anything that you'd like to see, know about, learn about, or just pick the mind of a young professional engineer, hit me up in the comments section below, leave a like, and again, we'll see you tomorrow for day 3. And just remember, engineering, it's not just a career, it's a lifestyle.